Well, alright, here we are back at the Cadillac engine. I'm going to start working on this again. And I've got boxes upon boxes of parts. First and foremost, we got ourselves a brand new water pump. The old one was leaking pretty good, and there's a little bit of play in the bearing. I don't know if you'll hear that on camera, but it don't sound too good either, so I got a new one. The new one was definitely not cheap. That thing was $215. I could have probably got a rebuild kit. I saw those for, I think they were about $100 for a rebuild kit. But I went through the shop manual and I looked at it, and it claimed you needed a few special tools that I didn't have to put it together. So I figured, you know what, well, rather than try to put it together with not the right tools, I would just get a new one. In addition to the new water pump, I also got a new thermostat to go in there, and I think what I'm going to do is pull off the water neck off that other engine and see if it's any better, because this one's a little bit crusty, but not too big of a deal. If it's better, I'll throw it on. If it's not, I'll just clean this one up and use it. Also, I got a new fuel pump for I think $42 for a whole new unit. It wasn't too bad. Which is funny because the rebuild kits were 60 to 70, so I just grabbed a new one and we'll call that good. Looks the same to me. I also got a carburetor rebuild kit. This carburetor was actually rebuilt when we got the car, but it's been sitting on the hood, or the roof there, for the last 8 years, so I know I need a new gasket for the carburetor, and this boot's kind of tore up and not so good, so I figured I'd just get the whole kit, and then if we need something down the road, if we get it in the car and it doesn't run right or whatever, I can throw that in. I'll have the parts for it. So got that. Also got a set of valve cover gaskets, because these ones, even that little bit of time that I ran it, you can see they're kind of leaking out fresh oil there. So got new gaskets for that. Also, when I was looking at it, I noticed that this freeze plug in the back here is seeping a bit of coolant, so I'm going to go ahead and replace those. I didn't buy new ones because I had some. I think I've got enough, but I've got enough for that one anyway. If I have all 8, I'll replace them all. 8 or 6 or however many are there. So we'll do that, and I also got some other parts, not really all for the engine here. A couple of oil filters, we'll change those out. I got bolts, U-bolts for the drive shaft. I got new U-joints as well. A couple of gaskets there for the exhaust, and spark plugs and that sort of thing. So let's go ahead and start digging into it. I'll take that water pump off and we'll get the new one on and get this thing running again. Alright, let's take this water pump off. I already got the heater hoses off, so should just be these 8 bolts, and should come right off, hopefully. There we go. Yeah. Probably should have had a pan for that, but whatever. I got some kitty litter down, should clean her up. Well, we got the old water pump off. Now we can clean up these things here, and I think before I put the new one on, I'll probably take this fuel pump off and throw the new one on. Looks like it might be easier to get to, so guess we'll start on that. Alright, I got the old fuel pump off, and there's a new one right beside it. They look pretty much the same to me, so throw that one in. And yeah, it looks kind of ooey gooey in there. I might have to try to clean that out a little bit anyway, but if it's that gooey and grimy in there, I wonder what it's going to look like under the valve covers. I may need to take them rocker arms apart and clean them all up. I guess I won't know until I get in there, but go ahead and clean that up and throw that new fuel pump on, and then finish cleaning that up and throw the new water pump on. Well, alright, I got that shiny new fuel filter on there, or the fuel pump on there, looking good. I also managed to sort of get this block drain on this side to start flowing. It's just so packed with sludge, I had to take a wire and ram it up in there to get it even moving a little bit. So I think before I go ahead and put that water pump on, I'm going to knock these freeze plugs out and see if I can clean some of the sludge out of there. Hopefully these ones that I have will work. They're for a 302, but I think there's enough 1.5 inch, which is, I believe the size they are is 1.5 inch, so I should be able to use these and replace all them freeze plugs. So I'm going to have to go ahead and take the exhausts off and also the starter on the other side, and then I can get in there and knock those out. We'll see what's behind there. There's just a bunch of sludge coming off of that piece of wire I was using. So don't look too bad inside there. Shine the light in there and look pretty clear, but a lot of sludge on the bottom. So we'll get that taken care of, and if I can get it cleaned out good enough, I'll throw the water pump on. Well, you learn something new every day. I was knocking out the freeze plug, one of the freeze plugs on the block, and I noticed these are a little bit different than the ones you normally see on a car. The ones you normally see have a kind of a dish to them, like this, and they go in that way, and they get pounded in. These ones are a bit different though. They are more like this one here. They're just a little domed piece of steel, and you put them on that way and hit it with a hammer, and it kind of flattens out and expands in there. And it's got a little landing here. Most of the modern ones don't have that. They're just a hole. So I don't have any of these dome style ones in the right size. I'm thinking I might be able to put the block plug in backwards and hit it with a ball peen hammer and get it to go, but I might just since I'm here see if I can find the right ones, the ones that are made for it, because that landing kind of gets in the way of the dished ones. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop the rest of them out. You can see all the crud that I scraped out of that first one, and I'm assuming it only gets worse the further back I go, so I'm gonna keep knocking these out and probably go online and see if I can find some of these more like Welch plug style ones rather than the dish. Alright, I got the next two plugs out, and you can see all the crap in there. I'm going to have to scrape that out and try to flush it out. Don't want that crap floating around my cooling system if I can help it. So one advantage to these flat ones is they're pretty easy to take out. You just punch a chisel through the middle and then pry on them a little bit, and they pop right out. It takes about 2 seconds. A lot easier than them dished ones, but I'm going to go ahead and pop the other side out and start scraping this crap and see if I can figure out a way to flush this thing. Alright, I got all the block plugs out. Now I'm just trying to clean out this block here. I've got most of the big chunks scraped out of there, and what I'm doing to flush it is I just put a funnel in this hole here in the block, and then I dump coolant in there and let it run out the block plugs there. And then once it looks fairly clean, I plug it off with a rag and move on to the next one and dump more in and let it run out into a pan. And right now I'm using old coolant because it's still going to be below freezing, so I don't want to use water and have that get trapped in the block. So using the old coolant out of it, and I'm filtering this stuff here just to take kind of the big chunks out. Got an old pair of jeans there hooked up to a funnel, and I'm just letting it run through there. Cleans it pretty good, but takes a while. So after that's done, I'll dump those back into jugs and put that pan underneath again and keep flushing it. Probably take a while. And I've got the new block plugs on order, so I've got some time to flush, so hopefully we can get all that crap out of there. Alright, I've got most of the big chunks of crap cleared out of these holes here. I used a little piece of steel cabling on my drill and ran it through there and busted out a lot of the big chunks and then flushed it through. There's still some in there that I just can't get, but I think I've got a plan for that. Unfortunately, I bought block plugs. I got the 1.5 inch, ordered those up, and they are just a hair too big. By a hair, I mean about literally a hair, because they won't quite fit in there the way they should. Just ever so slightly too big. And as it turns out, I did some research on this thing, and these ones, rather than 1.5 inch, take 1 and 31/64 plugs. So I've got to order them up, so I've got some time. But I figured since it's had so much crap in it, the coolant passages were completely plugged, I would probably go ahead and do a chemical flush on this thing. And I don't really want to put my new water pump on there and have all that crap floating around in it. So what I think I'm going to try to do is put the old one back on and plug up that weep hole in there in the bottom if I can, just so I can do the chemical flushes and not have to worry about plugging up my or damaging my new water pump or plugging up my new radiator. So I'll put that old one back on and put that old radiator back on and do probably a chemical flush or two on it, run water through it, run it a bunch, and just do my best to get all that crap out of there. So I think at this point I'm kind of stuck for a while until I get those proper size plugs and I can button it up and button up the water pump and do the flushes on it. So I think that'll be the end of this video, but next time we'll come back and flush it all out, see what we can clean up in here.